Alrighty, we've done a couple takes of this now, and we're going to go ahead and just get it cut and dry and get it done. My name is Joseph Dale. I actually did not do Summergeddon last year, but I did do a Teams event recently, newer to it, so I brought my friend Dylan here. He is substantially better at Teams events and a lot of things in general with it regarding this kind of stuff, so he knows how the pairing system works. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. The TLDR is you get 8 people form a team. No one has duplicates. It's no duplicate armies. Most likely no duplicate things like spell lores, battle tactics. Kind of dependent on that stuff. But at Worlds, right? You said it was specifically you couldn't run like Master and Intercept together more than once or twice, right?
Yeah, I think they're not letting more than like 3 duplicates of the same battle tactic card or something similar.
Cool. Jumping straight into this, you said we know our pairing about 30 minutes ahead of time. I'm going to go to my team. I'm going to talk to them and be like, hey, Skaven player, how do you feel into... I know that they have Flesh Eater Courts. I know they have Nighthaunt. I know they have this. How do you feel playing into these? And then I kind of get a good vibe of what that sounds like, right?
Yep.
All
Then
right.
you try to game plan a little bit, like, hey, what maps do you like? What ones do you super hate? What should I be avoiding for you?
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So we both play something simultaneously. I'll place here. Then we both reveal simultaneously. So this is gonna, let's say this is, I don't have a way to easily mark this as something, but I'm gonna put like cyclic, because we know what map it is, right?
It'll be the same map for each of the first two, and then a different one over here, and there, and there.
Perfect. Okay. So we know this is cyclic shifts, kind of spread out, lots of obscuring. So we'll go ahead and you put Soul Blight. So I'm going to put something that I think counters that with this map. I put down 2 different things, and you put 2 based on my Gits placement. We both reveal at the same time. Awesome. So now this is the point where each of us pulls something back, and then our defender knows the attacker. Then, right?
Yep, and we'll both do it at the same time, so there's no advantage. Back to the hand.
Perfect. So I didn't like the idea of Feck into Gits. I think it spreads out too much, so we're going to go ahead and go with that. Now, cards go backs, and then we both do the same thing again, right?
Yep.
Cool. Revealing. Awesome. Playing what I think goes in well into this. Then we reveal. Perfect. Then I don't think I want my orc player to play into ogres, so I'll give you your ogres back. Cool.
Yep, and I don't want Khorne into slaves.
Cool. Then we'll play our third one. And then we reveal. Ooh, good picks. Cool. Awesome. We reveal.
And this round is where it's going to get really interesting. So, whatever you decide you don't want to fight, we both pick at the same time, blah de blah. That immediately becomes the defender for round 7 and 8.
Okay, so I go ahead and I think OBR isn't going to do well into this Nighthaunt list because it's 8 Pyregeist units or something like that. And then I put it over here and it becomes your defender, right?
Yep.
And
Which means that my last card becomes my attacker. So this last round gets real easy for you to, figure out what's about to happen.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Trying to think about it. So obviously people are running probably 4 attackers, 4 defender lists. People are building lists kind of like, I knew that this new Magotkin book was really good, so I kind of put a Slaves to Darkness player that's probably not the best into it, but it's good enough, right? And then you put ogres into my stuff. So it's kind of one of those things of we have very generic defender lists built, and then we probably have a little bit more specialized tools like, let's say that my Skaven list happened to have 18 Scourgers or something like that into Soul Blight. So attackers are probably built more specialized and defenders are more generic, right?
Generally speaking, yeah. Your defender, you want him to be able to, like, almost matchup agnostic, be able to, clear a certain point threshold. Soul Blight, Nighthaunt are fantastic at that. They're always going to just score an amount of points.
Yeah.
Your attackers can be stuff that you don't want... something you want into a specific matchup, right? Sob is a really good example of an attacker list. There's some horrible matchups if I were to put it as a defender, where I could legitimately score like 5 points. if they offer me Cruel Boys and Feck or something.
Yeah.
So I want to use that more as an attacker when I see something like, Orcs. It's a destruction army, destruction on destruction. It's volatile, but it's also something that is very winnable, or at the very least, something I can score kind of well into.
Yeah, for sure. So looking at this, obviously we kind of want to have a predetermined list of what's going to happen, starting from 1 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
But I think game 3 and 4 is kind of where people are going to start being like, all right, well, we're not seeing a lot of good matches for this Khorne list, so let's get it down early. Versus,
Exactly.
maybe your 6 Thirster ends up fighting this Night Haunt list or the Sylvaneth list because there's no good placement for them, right?
Exactly. There's a lot of gamesmanship that'll go into the pairings process. Excuse me.
Interesting.
There's ways that you can start, adding to your layers and games and the stuff, right? Like, let's say I know that you've got Sylvaneth in your list because I did my homework and I looked at, your composition. And I know that, your Skaven is, super shooty or whatever. Or worse, we got OBR. So I have 2 things that'll absolutely dunk on anything that requires wards.
Yeah.
Nurgle obviously requires wards pretty heavily.
Yeah.
If I want to bait one of those 2 matchups out because I don't want that player to, run rampant elsewhere, or I don't want those matches anywhere else, I'll put a tantalizing target out there for defend, right?
Makes sense.
It's a lot harder with an attacker to get, like, the most favorable matchup. You're kind of, splitting the difference there a little bit more.
For sure. Interesting. We talked a little bit about kind of what teams events are. It's all based on the points differential. So one of the big things here that we need to tell some of the people that haven't done teams before is conceding is a worst case scenario here, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's honestly one of the best features of teams over like any of the singles formats that we've ever done.
For sure.
Because it's differential and because your team's conglomerate score is what goes into it. If you can eke out another 5 points over, you get doubled on turn 2 when you've got 1 hero left. If that guy's able to eke out 5 points, or even better, deny a few points on the opposing side, then you play that out the whole time, and you're actually contributing rather than just, wasting your time.
Yeah. Interesting. And there's also always that chance, right, that, we talked about bearing the bus or being under the bus where, my son's player is playing into 6 Bloodthirsters, and I just kind of told him, good luck, don't get tabled. Rather than him expecting him to win, I'm just hoping that he keeps it close to, maybe 30, 50, 40, 50 differential rather than letting him 80 out, right?
Exactly. Like a good example would be, a few months ago when we had that Khorne AOR running rampant with the heroes that were just unkillable, right? That thing is going to score well under those circumstances into almost anything it would match into, especially if we've teched the team right. So if I have something that's just not going to score super great into any other options, or that has a Hail Mary, Sob can occasionally just randomly do infinity damage. I might throw a volatile matchup in there and just be like, well, go for it. If you get it, cool. I'm already expecting this to be a heavy red. We're going to lose a lot of points here anyway. So if you score literally anything, that's already a win.
For sure. Am I correct in my assessment that I would rather have one game with a very, very large differential in my favor than 4 really close games, right?
I mean, you kind of want both. Generally, when I'm building a team comp, I'm trying to get 1 or 2 lists that are going to score just out the ass, out the wazoo, and, get a crap ton of points and win, fairly wide. Everything else, I'm kind of, ideally getting close wins or at the very least close losses.
Makes sense.
If I can keep those scores super flat in, the majority and those 2 wins actually go out and do their main thing and they win, then I'm in a great spot.
Gotcha, cool. Well, we are coming up on that time here, so I think we're going to go ahead and cut it loose here. But I appreciate your time. Thanks for running 3 takes with me now. Appreciate it. And I will see you at Summergeddon, man.
Absolutely. Can't wait, man.